Okay, everyone. We're going to get ready to start our seminar today. Welcome to our weekly Friday seminar, transportation seminar. Today we have our special guest speaker is Jianhong, who is a postdoc researcher. He's been here all year at the university, and he's going to talk about some of his research involving electric vehicles and what's been going on in China, which should be very, very interesting. As we go along, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions toward the end. I will remind you to press the mics here on your desks, and if the red light comes on, then you know they work. If they do not work, then I'll come around with a handheld. We put this seminar on each week. My name is John Glebe. I'm an assistant professor in urban studies and planning. This event is co-organized by Professors Kelly Clifton and Chris Monsier and Miguel Figliozzi in civil engineering and Professor Jennifer Dill in urban studies and planning. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our guest speaker. He will introduce himself and tell you a little bit about his background.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, John. Good afternoon, everybody. As John introduced, my name is Jianhong. My name is always Jianhong. And I'm a postdoc researcher in Toland School of Urban Studies and Planning. And I have been working here for several months. And before I came here, I stayed in Tongji University, Shanghai. I don't know whether you know it. I stayed in Tongji University for almost 11 years to finish my bachelor, master, and doctoral program in transportation planning. And today I would like to share with you some of the new energy vehicles demonstration activities in China. I'm going to talk about three things. The first one is called a demonstration campaign called 10 Cities and 1,000 Units. This campaign was launched by 4 ministries of China in 2009. And the purpose of this campaign is trying to initiate and promote the usage of the new energy vehicles. And then I would like to share with you some of the demonstration activities at Shanghai World Exposition last year. And finally, I want to discuss with you about the controversies. Now in China, even though the new energy vehicles is very popular, but not everybody agree with this kind of application. So let's see what they are thinking about. The first part is the 10 Cities and 1,000 Units campaign. As I mentioned before, this campaign or this program was launched jointly by 4 ministries: the Ministry of Science and Technology, the Ministry of Finance, the Development and Reform Commission, and the Ministry of the Industry and Information Technology. Not sure whether you are familiar with the different responsibilities of these different ministries in China. The Ministry of Science and Technology, this ministry is responsible for the basic research of natural science and social science, and also as well as the application of technology, especially the high technology. And the Ministry of Finance is in charge of the money and the budget. And the Development and Reform Commission, this commission I think is the most powerful commission in China, because this commission is responsible for the policy and the economic development policy, as well as the pricing. And also the last ministry, the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, is in charge of the industrial standards or industrial criteria for the different for the industry development. So these 4 ministries work together to launch this program. And according to the plan of this program, from 2010 2009 and to 2011, 2012, these 3 years, these 4 ministries will select 10 cities in China and help these cities to apply 1,000 new energy vehicles. So this is why this program is called 10 cities and 1,000 units. And now we have expanded these cities from 10 to now we have 25 cities for this campaign. And the application of these new energy vehicles is limited to public service area, not for private usage. So you can use these vehicles such as for the bus, for the taxi, and for the government cars. So not for the private usage, because it is much easier to apply the new energy vehicles in public service area. So at the first stage, the China government wants to use these new energy vehicles in the public service area. And here, the new energy vehicles are mainly referred to 3 types of vehicles. They are the hybrid electric vehicles, the battery electric vehicles, and the fuel cell vehicles. To encourage the local cities to use these new energy vehicles, the central government will give some subsidy to the consumers who buy this kind of vehicles. So, and this subsidy is based on the vehicle type, the fuel saving rate, and also the electric power ratio. For example, if you want to buy a battery electric vehicle, then you can get a subsidy of 50,000 RMB, so almost $9,000 for this subsidy. And also the local government of the selected cities, they are also required to offer some subsidies. But these subsidies are not for the consumer. Their subsidy is for the construction of such as the charging station or charging piles, and also the maintenance of the vehicles. And so similarly, this is subsidy especially for the bus. Similarly, this subsidy is also based on the vehicle type, the fuel saving rate, the battery type. And similarly, if the bus company buy a battery electric bus, the company will get a 500,000 RMB for this subsidy. And so this is the cities who are selected by these 4 ministries for this demonstration campaign. Now we have, as I mentioned, we have 25 cities, including Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Chongqing, Chengdu, all of cities. And these cities are selected because most of them, or each of them, has a very good auto industrial base. So the central government wants to develop the auto industry. So these cities are selected to develop this their auto industry. And this is the demonstration plan of the some selected cities. For example, here, Shenzhen city, planned to use 12,000 new energy vehicles until 2012, and Beijing city planned to apply 5,000 new energy vehicles. And if we take all the selected cities into account, in 2012, it is estimated that there should be more than 60,000 new energy vehicles that are expected to be used in the public service area, such as the bus, the taxi, and other public service area. And most of the vehicles are hybrid electric vehicles. It costs 61% of 61% is hybrid electric vehicles, and almost 40% is the battery electric vehicles. So the fuel cell vehicles covers only very small share, because it is regarded that the technology of fuel cell vehicles now is not very good, or is not mature enough. So the government wants to promote these two kinds of new energy vehicles. And so this is a more specific plan of each city. So how many hybrid electric vehicles, how many battery electric vehicles, and how many fuel cell vehicles, and how these vehicles could be used, bus, car. So this is a very specific plan of all the cities. And okay, so what I mentioned now is the demonstration for the public service area, not for the private usage. But actually last year, about June 1st, the central government also wants to the demonstration expanding from the public service area to the private usage, because it's not enough to just use these new energy vehicles in the public service area. We want to the private usage. So last year, June 1st, 5 cities among the 25 cities, such as the Shanghai, Shenzhen, Hangzhou, Hefei, and Changchun, these 5 cities are selected for the demonstration, for the new energy vehicle demonstration in the private usage. And also the new energy vehicles, the types of the new energy vehicles for demonstration has been changed. Because you might remember, for the public service area, we have 3 types of new energy vehicles: the hybrid electric vehicle, the battery electric vehicle, and the fuel cell vehicles. But for the private usage, we just use, or the central government just support 2 types of vehicles: the plug-in hybrid, not only hybrid, the plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, and the battery electric vehicles. So this is also a signal that China wants to develop these 2 kinds of vehicles in the next 10 or next 20 years, not the hybrid electric vehicles, not the fuel cell vehicles. And similarly, to encourage the encourage people to buy these 2 vehicles, the central government also offers some subsidy to the consumer who buy these vehicles. And this subsidy is based on the energy of power batteries. So 3,000 RMB for each vehicle, and for every kilowatt hours. So for example, if you want to buy a battery electric vehicle with a batteries of 15 kilowatt hour, then you can get a subsidy of 15 plus 15 multiplied by 3,000, so 45,000 RMB for this subsidy. And also the subsidy has its upper limit. So for the PHEV, so plug-in vehicles, this subsidy is no more than 50,000 RMB. And for the battery electric vehicles, it's no more than 60,000 RMB. And similarly, the local government of the selected cities, they also give the subsidy to the consumer who buy these types of new energy vehicles. For example, Shenzhen, Hangzhou, and Beijing, these 3 cities, they give the same subsidy with central government. That they also give 60,000 RMB to the consumer who buy these new energy vehicles. So that means if people in Beijing, if the residents in Beijing, they want to buy these new energy vehicles, so they can get 2 subsidies. One is from the central government, another is from the Beijing local government. So the maximum subsidy the consumer could get is 120,000 RMB. So this seems very attractive to the consumer. And but even this is very contractive. The market of new energy vehicles now is, I think, is still very small. So until October last year, only less than 2,000 vehicles were sold out. So the consumers are still waiting. So so this is a total view of the demonstration in both the public service area and the private usage area. So, and then I want to talk more about the Shanghai demonstration plan. In 2009, the motor vehicles in Shanghai has reached about 2.43 million, but almost half of them are motorcycles. So especially in the suburban area. And Shanghai has 16,000 buses and 49,000 taxis. So these buses and these taxis are will priority be applied with the new energy vehicles. And according to the Shanghai demonstration plan, from 2009 to 2012, there should be more than 4,000 new energy vehicles will be applied in the public service area, such as the bus, the taxis. And there should be 20,000 for the private usage. But now the people still are skeptical about this plan could be fulfilled. But especially for the private usage, because in the public service area, it could be controlled by the government. The government can have the control ability to use these new energy vehicles. But for the private usage, you cannot force the consumer to buy a new energy, a battery electric vehicle. So the 20,000, this number or this objective, whether this objective could be fulfilled is still not known. But in order to promote this application, Shanghai government also selected 4 or 5 demonstration sites to use the new energy vehicles. One big site is the Chongming Island. So the government wants to use the new energy vehicles on this Island because to support the construction of this Island. And also Shanghai Exposition site is another very important site for the new energy vehicles application, and also Jianhong area, and also this area. This is a Tongji another campus in this Jianhong area, and this is the Shanghai Hongqiao Airport area. So this area are selected to focusly or to intensively use the new energy vehicles. And then we can talk more about the demonstration activities at Shanghai Exposition. Anybody has been to Shanghai Exposition last year? No. This is the site of the Shanghai Exposition. So this is the Huangpu River, and we have 2 sides, the west part and the Pudong east part. And the total area of this site is about 5.3 square kilometers. And it is reported that more than 73 million people visited the Shanghai Exposition. I think it breaks through the record of Japan, 1978, and the maximum visitors for one day has reached 1 million. So it's amazing, and and for the during the Shanghai World Exposition, there are more than 1,147 new energy vehicles are used during this exposition. And these vehicles could be categorized into several types: the battery electric vehicles, the fuel cell vehicles, the hybrid electric vehicles, and the supercapacitor vehicles. And also different vehicles, they are applied in different areas for the bus, the sightseeing, or the taxi. And the idea behind this application is within the exposition site, the transportation system should be zero emission. So all these vehicles, when they can be used within the exposition site, and nearby or outside the expo site, the transportation system should be low carbon emission. So the hybrid electric vehicles, they can be used outside the exposition site or nearby the exposition site, because they cannot be used within the exposition site. And so this is some pictures about the battery electric bus, and this is a SuperCapacitor bus, and this is a hybrid taxi, hybrid electric taxi, and this is a fuel cell vehicles for VIP or for other use, and this for sightseeing, and this for the working vehicles. And some basic parameters of these vehicles. I think the most important parameter is about the driving range of these vehicles. So, for example, the battery electric bus, the driving range is 80 kilometers. I think this number should be a conservative, because it is reported that most of the bus should have 120 kilometers driving range. But even though I think Shanghai people has I don't want to evaluate the personality of Shanghai people, but they are, I think they are still conservative, and even with this number, they use 60 kilometers as their driving limited. So when a bus has covered 60 kilometers, the bus need go to the charging station to swap their batteries for a new one, a new full one. And this the fuel cell vehicles has much longer range than the battery electric vehicles, and also the hybrid electric vehicles has longer. And another problem is the price of the bus or the new energy vehicles is very expensive. So the price for the battery electric bus cost 2 million RMB. 2 million RMB, how much dollars? 2 million RMB. So it is very expensive, and even though you can get a subsidy from the central government, the subsidy just only 500,000. So just 1/4 of this total price. So the subsidy is 1/4 of this total price, and you still have spent a lot of money to buy this, and also you still have a lot of money to maintain this operation of the bus. So now many bus companies, they they don't want to use this bus, and but the Shanghai government still urges them to do that, and so it's still a negotiation between the bus company and the local government to use these new energy vehicles, and also to give the energy to the new energy vehicles. The Shanghai Exposition, there's one charging station for the battery electric vehicles and one charging line for the SuperCapacitor Bus, and one fixed and two mobile hydrogen refueling stations for the fuel cell vehicles. So this is the this shows the charging mode of the electric bus during Shanghai Exposition. So when the bus, as I mentioned, when the bus has covered 60 kilometers, and then go to the charging station to swap the battery with a full charged battery, and the whole process could be finished within 8 minutes. And this is the charging for the SuperCapacitor bus. So when the bus comes to the stop and the passengers can get off or get on, so utilizing this time gap, the bus can be charged, and this charging is cost 1 to 1.5 minutes. And this is for the refueling to the fuel cell vehicles. This is the fueling station, and this is a mobile fueling. And also some operation facts about the new energy vehicles during the exposition. Totally, it is reported that all the new energy vehicles has done a very good job, and they covered more than 2 million kilometers and carried more than 110 million passengers. And for example, for the battery electric bus, each day this bus will cover 180 kilometers. So based on the driving range, it is 60 kilometers. So the bus averagely the bus need to change the battery for 2 times, because for the 180 kilometers. And the benefits in terms of the environmental protection, it is estimated that by using these more than 1,000 new energy vehicles, it could save 10,000 tons of fuel oil and reduce 28,000 tons of carbon dioxide emission. So this is an overview of the demonstration in China. Firstly, it's in the public service area, and then in the private usage, and then I give Shanghai Exposition as an example to show how they demonstrate. And now I want to use a couple of minutes to discuss with you about the controversies of the application of new energy vehicles, because even though the central government has decided to develop this new energy vehicle industry, and they will release a very ambitious plan how many vehicles should be applied in 2020, and but now some people or some experts or some professors or some auto professionals, they still have a skepticism or still argue about this kind of application of new energy vehicles. The first controversy or the first computation is whether the new energy vehicles in China is a low carbon emission China, because because this is based on the electricity power. So when where is the electricity? Where does the electricity power comes? You know, in China, almost 80% of electricity was generated by burning coal, and only very small portion of them are from the hydropower and the nuclear power. So, you know, the coal is not a very clean energy compared with the oil and the gas. So when producing the same amount of heating, the carbon emission from coal is almost twice than that from the oil, and 4 times larger than that from the twice than the gas, and 4 times than that from the oil. So many people argue that we use the electricity to provide the energy to the battery electric cars, but still we have a lot of carbon emission because this electricity are from the coals. And another question for this is the electricity supply is not abundant in China. So I just got the news yesterday. There's still the electricity shortage has come, and some cities, 4 or 5 provinces and many cities, now they cut off the electricity supply because the supply is not very abundant. And so some people would argue that if the battery electric vehicles, they use electricity, and the residents use the electricity, and also the the manufacturer also use the electricity. So the vehicles will compete with the residents, with the residential, or with the commercial, with the manufacturing to use the electricity. So how can we supply so much electricity? So this is also another problem about this controversy. But there are still some research or some studies to show that even in China, the 80% electricity comes from coal. But from the analysis of from the life cycle analysis, that means from the generation of energy, and from the generation, transportation, and also the usage, so the whole process of the energy and the whole process of the vehicles. Some studies also show that the carbon emission is still smaller than if we use the battery electric vehicles than that the traditional vehicles. So, but the central government didn't. But the central government haven't released official demonstration or official figures that how to compare these different carbon emissions. And the second controversy is about the subsidies. So this subsidy for the new energy vehicles is based on, or the idea behind this subsidy is these vehicles is low carbon emission. So, but some people would argue that if you want to reduce the carbon emission, we can have more walking or bicycling. So walking and bicycling are more environmental protection, are more environmental friendly than the new energy vehicles. And also, the people who can buy a new energy vehicle, sometimes in China, they are often wealthier than the people who use walking or use bicycling. So it is also another concern about the gap between the wealthy and the poor. So this policy seems very inclined to give the support to the wealthy instead of to help the poor. So still some people would argue this policy, is it suitable? So But now we haven't any methods to resolve this policy, and I don't know how to. If you have any ideas, I don't know how to address this kind of policy consideration, policy controversy. And the third one, the third controversy is about the charging infrastructure construction. This is very interesting. Last year, or in 2009, in 2009, not so many enterprises they want to build the charging station because they said the trend of the development or the signal from the central government is not very clear. So they are not convinced to build the charging station. But just 1 year, so last year in 2010, many enterprises joined the ranks of the charging station construction. So including the State Grid Corporation, the China Southern Grid Corporation, and also the traditional oil company, the National Petroleum Corporation and the Sinopec Group. So this, and also there are other companies join these ranks. But now the people began to argue the incentives of this company to build these charging stations, because the first reason is the central government has not released any standard or any criteria to build the charging station construction. So it will be a big problem because all the different companies they build their different charging stations and they are not uniform. So this is a big problem. And another is, seems that these companies want some people would argue that the most important thing for the charging station construction is not the charging station itself, but the land of China. Because if one company can build a charging station and they can have this plots of land, so they want to build more and more stations, and then they can have more and more land. And land is very useful or very pretty, and in China, if you have a land, and that means the land will not be devalued all the time. So it can be add value to you. So some people call this construction is like enclosure movement, so of the land. So they want, what they want is land, not the charging station. So and the last one is about is still about the policy. So the central government wants to use the new energy vehicles. They have released many economic incentive policies to encourage the people to use. But we still have a policy that we need to encourage the public transit use. We need to encourage walking, the bicycle. So these two policies seems to contradict with each other, because on one hand you want more people use the new energy vehicles, but it's still vehicles, not bicycles or not public transit. But on the other hand, the country also need more people to use the transit, to bicycle and to walking. So how these two types of policies can meld with each other? And this still a concern about the policy. And so this is the most controversy we have to face in China. And in order to address these controversies, I think we at least do some basic research to address this controversy. The first one is we need to conduct the operational characteristic survey, because now the most of the data, including the driving range or including the performance of the batteries, are from the auto manufacturer, not from the real operation. So we need to conduct the survey about the operational characteristics to collect the real data, the real performance data of these new energy vehicles. And based on the real data, then we can conduct the life cycle analysis of cost and benefits in terms of the economics and the environmental protection. And also we need to do some consumer behavior study, including the purchasing behavior, the utilizing behavior, and the charging behavior. And now, I didn't see any basic research about this in China, and the government has set so ambitious plan, but we know a little about this behavior of the potential behavior of the consumers. So I think it's a big problem. China is always wants to go fast, and but we still need to do more basic research. And also, based on this behavior, we can to do more research about the infrastructure layout, or in how to lay out the infrastructure, the charging station, how many charging stations should be needed in one city, or how they can be distributed on space. And so this is also a problem is in order to own more land, the state grid, or I mentioned there are many state-owned enterprises. They build the charging station, but now China it is not very clear that which kind of charging mode we need to use. I mean, the fast charging mode, the regular or the slow charging mode, or the battery swap mode. So which kind of mode we should be used? And without that is kind of a strategy of how to charge these vehicles. Without that strategy, the enterprise wants to have built more and more the fast charging stations, and that's also a big problem, because if you use a fast charging mode, that means the electricity demand will grow very, very fast. And but now in China, we still have some shortage of electricity supply. So a lot of questions we need to answer. But now we have done a lot of work, but without answering these many questions. And also, the last one is about the policy consideration, and how to make a good coordinated policy, and to promote and to initiate these new energy vehicles. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, we have time for some questions, and I'll remind you when you ask your questions to use the mic on the desktop.
Hi, thanks for your is this on? Oh, it's just for, yeah, right. So just starting off from your questions there at the end, what criteria is the government looking for in deciding whether and when and how fast to escalate this, to go to a much larger numbers. And related to that, and to your question, and to your point about the usage of electricity and the, how does this relate to movement towards a smart grid in China, and how do those two things work? Obviously, we know how fast China can scale up, building entire cities in a matter of a couple of years. So if they decide to scale up this, it would require significant progress in smart grid technology.
Yeah. Yes. China now so many. I was not very familiar with the smart grid, but I know there are many studies that to how to incorporate the electricity supply with the new energy vehicles into the smart grid, and the basic requirement is the the charging mode should be slow charge or regular charge, not fast charging, and the charging time should be in the night, not the daytime. So with this way, they can incorporate the energy supply of the electricity to the cars, and also they can adjust the the electricity to the grid. And but I don't know how this research has gone, and maybe it is. I think it is a trend of the electricity usage, not only for the vehicles, but also to adjust, because there are very big gap between there are very big gap of the electricity usage between the daytime and the nighttime in China, especially in the summer season. So the gap is very large. So the central government also they did want to adjust this gap between the daytime and the nighttime, and the energy supply of the vehicles is also taken as a way to adjust this gap. Yeah. Yes.
I'm wondering, you mentioned in the beginning some of the cities that were selected. It was partly tied to wanting to grow the auto manufacturing in that city or area.
Yeah.
Do you have a sense of the new energy vehicles that are being implemented through this program? How many of them are Chinese made versus imported from Japan or other countries?
The China government, there's also a controversy about the application of the new energy vehicles, because many people in China, they think in terms of the traditional technology of automaker, China falls very far behind such as China, to Japan or to the United States. But in the battery electric vehicles, they said the technology gap, or the gap of technology, is not so big than the gap of the traditional traditional vehicles. So the government wants to develop this kind of new energy vehicles technology, and to even want to surpass the United States or surpass to Japan. And now many China native auto manufacturers, they have the plan to make the new energy vehicles such as BYD, the Chery, and the Chang'an. I don't know how to translate Chang'an, another brand, another Chinese native brand. So, and also, I think there should be at least about 10 Chinese native brand auto manufacturers. They also want to make the new energy vehicles. So now now the people will argue this application, because seems that the many manufacturers who has not ability to make the vehicles, now they are applying for the license they are applying for the making license to the government, and they said they want to make the new the battery vehicles because they have some kind of technology, and so it's kind of a waste of the supply, or waste of the the generation supply. So, but it's still a question, and the government also wants to encourage more and more enterprise to use the to make the battery electric vehicles, and I think it's still a kind of a negotiation between the economic benefits and the environmental protection, and as in terms of total amount, I think now Japan has the vehicle type of price has been exported from Japan, and I think at least 60% of the new energy vehicles should be the Chinese native brand, and 40% are from exporting from other countries. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Okay.
So what was the difference between the battery electric bus and the supercapacitor bus?
The first is the driving range. The battery electric vehicle bus has a much longer than the supercapacitor. Supercapacitor is has a very small range, just 6 kilometers, and it's a different types of how to supply the electricity. I mean, the battery is one way, and the supercapacitor is another way to generate electricity for the cars. And but now the supercapacitor bus is more popular because in terms of the carbon emission reduction, it seems much better than the battery electric vehicles. As I mentioned, the most electricity from coal, but the supercapacitor they don't use coal to charge the vehicles. Yeah.
Keeps it down. You were talking about electricity, and on a scale of cities, we don't really have a good way of storing electricity. So what happens when there's a blackout, or if a nuclear power plant blows up, for instance? How do you reserve enough power to charge and keep your cars moving and your transportation going, even in times of emergency?
Yeah, this is also another big problem. And even the cars could be taken as electricity storage. I mean, so during the nighttime you can charge your cars so for 10 or 12 hours, and then in the daytime you probably cannot you probably don't use the full range of the electricity can provide. So during the parking, and also during the parking, you can still charge the cars, and you can store the electricity in your cars. And when somebody needs electricity, you can sell your electricity to the grid, and then to sell to other people. So this is one way that I mentioned to the smart grid. But in terms of the emergency, I don't know in terms of the emergency. Yeah.
First, I just want to say I think the sort of questions you're asking about whether or not the new energy vehicles conflicts with policies about walking and biking, I think that's an excellent question. And I wondered, in terms of promoting walking and bicycling, what is kind of the policy approach currently, both at the national government and the local government? And I guess more broadly, is there an effort to kind of to do the kind of policy coordination that you're talking about?
Yeah. In 2005, the central government has released a policy that we need to encourage the public transit, the bike, and the walking. So this is it's called the public transit priority in the transportation system. So it's not only include public transit; it still include the walking and bicycling. So this is one national policy that we have in China, and also we have some practice to encourage the bike and walking. For example, now it is very popular for many cities. They have public bike share projects, such as in Hangzhou or in other cities, and the people can rent a bike nearby a subway station or a bus station, and within 1 hour it is free to use the bike. And but for walking, we don't have released some policies to encourage walking, and because walking is so common in China, and we also have a campaign called the car free day. So each year from September 17th to September 17th to 23rd. So this week is called the public transit priority week, and during this week, the local government will encourage the people to use the public transit, and they have some restrictions to the use of the private cars. And only in one day, on September 22nd, this is the day that we call the car-free day. So in the central area of the city, a very core area, about 2 or 3 square kilometers. So in the core area, the private car was not permitted to enter that area, and that area is only for walking and only for bicycling. So yeah, this is the practice or the policy that we have to encourage the walking and bicycling. Yeah. Okay.
Is the central government attempting? Use your microphone. Is the central government attempting in its 5-year plan, for example, to tie domestic renewable energy targets with electrical vehicle build-out targets? So presumably there'd be the clean energy capacity?
Yes, they have another 5-10 years plan. So from now to 2020, they have a plan. So not only for the electricity bus, but this plan has not been released officially. So it's just still in the process of discussion, and it is expected that this plan could be released at this year, so later this year. So, but there are some figures that have been released to the public, that how many electric vehicles will be made from now to 2020, and how much money the central government will offer to encourage this the vehicles making and also the vehicles application. And yeah, maybe you can search the specific number from the website.
Okay, that is unfortunately all the time we have. Let's thank our speaker, Jianhong. And I will put in a plug for next week's speaker. Next week we will have Rob Schneider from UC Berkeley, who will be talking about how people choose a travel mode, factors associated with routine walking and bicycling.